From the National Newsroom of the Canadian Press, I'm John Kennedy. Federal Jobs Minister Patty Hajdu says Ottawa will intervene with binding arbitration to stop a dispute at Canada's largest airline that has upended hundreds of flights. The move comes within hours of Air Canada flight attendants going on strike.
Hajdu says she met with the two sides last night, but was disappointed when she learned they were too far apart to resolve this dispute anytime soon.
The parties are very far apart, and so this additional help of an arbitrator will help them close that gap.
Kyle Duggan, The Canadian Press, Ottawa.
U.S. President Donald Trump says the best way to end the war between Russia and Ukraine is to go directly to a peace agreement and skip a ceasefire. His words come after he had a call with Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky and European leaders. Reporter Patrick Reevell has details on what Putin wanted out of the deal.
According to two sources familiar with the call, Vladimir Putin had demanded that Ukraine cede all of the unoccupied Donetsk region in exchange for halting his offensive in two other southeastern regions of Ukraine, Kherson and Zaporizhia. And he said that if Ukraine did so, he would also halt more attacks on the country.
European leaders say they welcome Trump's efforts to stop the killing in Ukraine and end Russia's war of aggression while achieving a just and lasting peace. Prime Minister Mark Carney says U.S. President Donald Trump is creating a great opportunity to end Russia's illegal war in Ukraine. Carney praised the Alaska summit between Trump and the Russian President Vladimir Putin, even though the Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky did not attend. He says Canada is working closely with Zelensky and international partners to maintain support for Ukraine through diplomacy, military aid, and economic pressure on Russia. Carney says allies to Ukraine insist the besieged nation should decide its own future, while the international community reinforces efforts to end the conflict. Hurricane Erin has rapidly intensified into a Category 5 storm in the Caribbean. The National Hurricane Center says the hurricane is sporting winds of 257 kilometers per hour and sits north of Anguilla, moving west. While the eye is forecast to stay offshore, strong winds and heavy rains are affecting nearby islands, raising the risk of flooding, landslides, and mudslides. That's the sound of hundreds of protesters in Tel Aviv. It comes as Israel says it's preparing to move Palestinians from combat zones to southern Gaza, with plans to move forward on a military offensive in some of the territory's most populated areas. Anxious families of hostages have called for a nationwide day of stoppage in Israel on Sunday to express growing frustration over the 22 months of war. They fear the coming offensive might only further endanger the 50 remaining hostages in Gaza, although only 20 are still thought to be alive. This is the Canadian Press. In sports, play is underway in Regina as the Saskatchewan Roughriders host the Hamilton Tiger Cats in a showdown between the CFL's two top teams. The West-leading Riders, sitting at 7-1, are hoping to extend their winning streak. The East-leading Ticats are 6-3. George Springer is back in the Toronto Blue Jays lineup. He's batting leadoff as Toronto hosts the Texas Rangers at the Rogers Centre this afternoon. He was reinstated from the 7-day injured list before the game after he was concussed on July 28th, getting hit in the head with a fastball thrown by Baltimore Orioles pitcher Cade Stroud. Canada has earned 2 medals at a Diamond League meet in Poland. Cameron Rogers of Richmond, BC won gold in the women's hammer throw, and Ethan Katzberg of Nanaimo, BC earned silver in the men's event. Calgary's Abigail Strait won her 3rd consecutive medal at the Summer Grand Prix, earning bronze in the women's large hill test in Poland. Strait racked up 231.4 points in her 2 attempts. From the Canadian Press, I'm John Kennedy.
Thanks for listening. Don't forget to follow and subscribe. For more of today's top stories, visit thecanadianpressnews.ca.